Okay, so we're going to add one step on to what we did last time. So this time we're going to be solving, so we're going to throw an equal sign into our complex fractions and solve them. Okay, so this is an example of what it's going to look like, where we're throwing an equal sign in the middle and we're solving for x. The thing that we have to do extra in this is once we solve for x, we got to check to make sure our answer actually works, because we don't want to get 0 on the bottom. Okay, so what are the solutions? So first off, we look at the left side and we get common denominators on the bottom so that we can go ahead and add. Okay, so it looks like I'm missing x plus 3 on this side, and I'm missing x minus 3 on this side. Technically, we're multiplying by x plus 3 over x plus 3 and x minus 3 over x minus 3, but visually this looks a little bit better. So on the top, I'm going to have x times x plus 3 plus x times x minus 3, and then they share that common denominator of x minus 3, x plus 3. And it's going to be equal to 2 over, let's go ahead and factor this, so multiplies a negative 9, adds to 0. So positive 3 and negative 3. Okay, if I was trying to get rid of a fraction, let's say I had 1/2 times x equals 7x. To get rid of a fraction, you multiply by its reciprocal, so 2 over 1, and you do it to both sides. This gets it to cancel on the left side and go to the right side. We're going to do the exact same thing in this. If I can erase this. Okay, so I'm going to multiply both sides by x minus 3, x plus 3, to get rid of that fraction on the bottom. So I'm going to do it to this side too, so x minus 3, x plus 3, and we're multiplying, so these will cancel. That's why we did it. I'll have x times x plus 3 plus x times x minus 3, and it's going to equal, well, it looks like I have the exact same thing on top here and bottom, so they'll cancel, and these will cancel because we're multiplying them, so we're able to cancel. If it would have been a plus sign here, then we couldn't have, but because we're multiplying, we can. So the only thing left there is 2. Now we're just going to simplify so we can solve for x. So to simplify, I'm going to distribute to get x squared plus 3x plus x squared minus 3x. We're going to go ahead and add like terms. So x squared plus x squared gets me 2x squared. 3x minus 3x will cancel, so it'll equal 2. We're going to keep solving, so let's divide by 2. Opposite of squaring is square rooting, so x equals plus or minus 1. Remember, whenever you're solving and you square root, you have the positive and negative side. And then we need to check our answer. So what you're going to do is you're going to plug positive 1 in for all those x's and then negative 1 in. So if I take this right side here, if I put 1 in, remember whenever you take out a number or take out a letter and put a number in, you use parentheses. 1 squared gets me 1. 1 minus 9 gets me negative 8. So when I type this whole thing into my calculator, once I type 1 in, I'm going to see if it equals this 2 over negative 8. And it will. And then I check my next one. So we're going to see what we need our left side to equal. Negative 1 squared is going to be 1. So it needs to equal the exact same thing. So you're going to type in negative 1 for all of my x's in your calculator and see if it equals this. And it actually does. So both answers are options for this one. Okay, my next one looks like we got to do some factoring. So multiplies to 2, adds to 3. So 2 and 1. And then I got 2x over x plus 2 is equal to x minus 1 over x plus 1. So the left side, they both have x plus 2. The right side's missing x plus 1, so we're going to go ahead and multiply by x plus 1 on top here. So my common denominator will then be x plus 2, x plus 1. I didn't do anything to that top left, but I did this to the top right. And then we're going to get rid of that fraction. So I'm going to multiply both sides by x plus 2, x plus 1, and this one by x plus 2, x plus 1. Anytime you have the same thing on top and bottom, they'll cancel. That's why we did it. Okay, and it looks like we have these x plus 1s on top that cancel. So then we just have these being multiplied left. So then it's just going into simplifying. So it looks like we're going to have to FOIL this right side and then distribute right here. So if I distribute, I'm going to get 2x squared plus 2x equals x times x is x squared We got 2x in there. The middle is going to be negative 1x, and then negative 2 on the back end. So let's combine our like terms. We got x plus 2x here, so 3x minus 1 plus 2x squared equal to x squared plus x minus 2. Let's get all of it to one side because we need to check to see if we're going to have to factor and do ZPP. Okay, because all my x's aren't going to cancel where I'm going to get a pretty x equals a number. So let's get everything to the left side. So I'm going to subtract x squared from this. I'm also going to subtract x from the other x, and I'm going to add 2 to the number. So what I'm going to have left in the correct order is x squared plus 2x plus 1 equals 0. Okay, if I have x squared in these two numbers, I can factor. So multiplies to 1, adds to 2, it's 1 and 1. If these are set equal to 0, we can do ZPP. So x plus 1 equals 0. If I solve it, I'm going to get x is equal to negative 1. Then we have to check it. If I plug negative 1 in here, negative 1 plus 1 gets me 0, and I can't have 0 on the bottom, so that answer does not work. All right, our next one, I'm going to have to factor that top right. So multiplies to negative 3, adds to 2. So it's going to be x plus 3, x minus 1. I don't have any fractions that I'm adding and subtracting, so I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this little guy in the bottom by multiplying both sides by x plus 2. If I have the exact same thing on top, exact same thing on bottom, they cancel. So it's actually going to cancel on both sides. So I have x minus 1 equals all of this left. So if we FOIL that right side and then try to move everything to one side, I got x times x gets me x squared. This gets me negative x, 3x, and negative 3. So x minus 1 is equal to x squared plus 2x minus 3. We're going to subtract the x over, add the 1 over. So I have x squared plus 2x minus 2 equals 0. Factor multiplies the negative 2, adds to 2. So x, this was supposed to be a 1 right here. There we go. So x plus 2, x minus 1. ZPP, I got x plus 2 equals 0, x minus 1 equals 0. And then we have, when I subtract 2, I get negative 2. When I add 1, I get positive 1. We plug it back in and check it. If I plug a negative 2 in here, I get 0 in the bottom, so it automatically knocks him out. So my next check is 1. So when I plug 1 in, 1 minus 1 right here gets me 0. 0 divided by any number is going to get me 0 on that side. So then I check my next side. 1 squared is 1, plus 2 times 1, which is 3. 3 minus 3 gets me 0. So 0 equals 0, so 1 is a possible option. Okay, my next one, it doesn't look like I have any GCFs or anything to factor, but this left side here is missing x plus 4, so we're going to multiply him by x plus 4, and this one by x plus 1 because he's missing that one. So their common denominator will be x plus 1, x plus 4. On top I'm having x times x, come on, plus 4 plus 3 times x plus 1. And it's equal to x plus 3 over x plus 4. Let's get rid of that fraction by multiplying by x plus 1, x plus 4. What you do to one side, you have to do to both sides. Meow. So these cancel. I have x times x plus 4 plus 3 times x plus 1. Same thing on top, I can cancel them. So my x plus 4s get canceled, but I still have x plus 3 and x plus 1. So we got to distribute on the left side, FOIL on the right side. So I'm going to get x squared plus 4x plus 3x plus 3, x squared plus x plus 3x plus 3. Let's get everything to one side so we can see what it equals in case I have to factor it or solve it. So if I'm moving everything to the left side, first let's go ahead and combine like terms. So we get 7x right there and 4x right here. So let's subtract x squared to the left side. Let's subtract 4x to the left side and subtract 3 to the left side. So x squared minus x squared, they both cancel. 7x minus 4x gets me 3x. 3 minus 3 gets me 0. Once I subtract everything over, it's going to be equal to 0 over there because everything got moved. If I divide by 3, x is going to be 0. Then we just got to check our answer. So if you plug it in, you should get 3/4 equals 3/4, which would mean it works. So just make sure you're plugging it back in for all of the x's and seeing that both sides equal each other. Okay, we're not going to use the graphing calculator. We're going to solve by hand. So it looks like this left side's missing x minus 2, and this side's missing x plus 2. So I have 2 times x minus 2 plus x times x plus 2. Common denominator is x plus 2, x minus 2. And it's equal to 1. To get rid of that, we multiply by x plus 2, x minus 2 to both sides. Cancels on the left side, so I have 2 times x minus 2 left, plus x times x plus 2 equals 1 times all. That's not going to change anything, so I'm just going to write them next to each other because I'm going to have to FOIL it. So distributing on the left, FOILing on the right, I get 2x minus 4 plus x squared plus 2x is equal to x squared minus 2x plus 2x minus 4. So we combine like terms before we move it over to make less stuff to move over. So I got my 2x's here, so I have 4x minus 4 plus x squared equals x squared. Those cancel, so it just becomes minus 4. So let's move everything to the left side. So I'm going to subtract x squared and add 4. So I have 4x is equal to 0. Divide by 4. X is equal to 0. We got to plug it back in and check it. When you plug it back in and check it, it should work. You'll get 1 equals 1. So that is the correct answer. Okay, my last one, it doesn't look like we have any fractions that we need common denominators to add and subtract. So if I want to get rid of this bottom, we need to multiply both sides by it. So it will cancel on this side. I now have x plus 2 equals 5 times 1 minus 2x. To solve for x, we got to distribute this little guy to get 5 minus 10x. And now we're just solving. So let's say we add 10x. We have 11x plus 2 equals 5. Subtract 2. 11x equals 3. Divide by 11. So you are plugging in 3 over 11 to see if it works. And it does work. You could convert it to decimal and then plug that decimal in here. It will be a lot easier than having multiple fractions. So that's a possibility if you want to make it a little bit easier. And it should work or get really, really close to 5 if you round your decimal when you plug it in.